We are Joep, Felix, Gerard, Bart and Rutger, and our project is about a Dutch company called Fidus. The company is based in the southern province Limburg. Fidus advises and mediates as an independent intermediary in the field of insurances, mortgages, pensions and other financial services for both private individuals and entrepreneurs in small and medium-sized businesses. Moreover, Fidus offers mortgages and is a real estate agency. To answer our research question, how does the organizational culture of Fidus influence the performance motivation of their employees? We went all the way to the southern part of the country to do our interview in a small village called Geleen. When we made our interview, we held our focus on 5 main points. These points are 1. Background information about the interviewee, 2. The organizational culture of Fidus, 3. Motivation, 4. Job performance, and we always ended up with point 5, our main question. To be more clear, we asked multiple questions about each point. For example, when we asked about organizational culture, we would ask how the interviewee would describe their colleagues or how decision-making is arranged within the organization. When we asked about motivation, we asked about the most motivating part of their job and how they could be even more motivated. When we conducted our interview, there were certain things we took into account in order to avoid bias. Firstly, we didn't have more than 2 interviewers in the room with a single interviewee. As a result, the interviewer felt a lot more comfortable and was more open. Secondly, to get a sample as good as possible, we made sure our interviewees were from different age, gender and had different functions within the organization. Thirdly, since the dad of one of our group members is part of the board of directors, this group member didn't take place as an interviewer. Furthermore, we decided to inform the interviewees that the information they gave us would be used for our research only. We chose a room where employees normally relax and chat during their break. In this way, people would feel as comfortable as it gets at their office. While creating the questions, we made sure the questions were not leading and as broad as possible. Furthermore, we asked more questions if we wanted an example elaborated or if we tried to let people talk more. To reach the same goal, we let several quiet spaces after questions. Even if the interviewee did give us an immediate answer, to let them fill up the quiet room themselves and let them talk about what they want to talk about. This all would reduce bias and let people lead their own interview with minimal interference from the interviewer. After the interviews, we started coding the interviews because that's quite usual with qualitative research. We have a few examples. If you look at the first question, when we asked the interviewee, so is this mainly just a job for you? The interviewee said, yes, on one hand it's just a job, but on the other hand it's also a passion for me. This can be labeled as that the person who answered the question has work passion. The second sentence, I once obtained my insurance certificate, can be labeled as that the interviewee is educated because he has obtained a certificate. Another question is, are there general rules within the company? And the interviewee said, the larger the company, the more you will have to deal with rules. This can be labeled as more rules due to the size of the company. During our interview, we had a coding memo. That was that the conflicting views on accessibility of board members. Employee A told us that the line between the board and employees is relatively short, which means it is easy to come in contact with members of the board. But employee B told us, it was a board member, told us that the gap between the members of the board and regular employees is relatively large. In the interviews, we used the semi-structured interview method. This means that we made several questions which we asked all our interviewees. But in every interview, we tried to realize a normal conversation by making follow-up questions based on the information they gave us. When we evaluate the first few interviews to see if we used our interview technique properly, we see that the interviewers gave us broad information because of the non-leading questions and the silences between questions and answers. We opened our interview with the question what feeling the interview has by the company. In this way, we try to let the interviewee talk about his or her feelings and try to let them speak openly. As a result, we got a lot of personal information about the company. This is important for our research because motivation on job performance is a personal matter. When evaluating our research proposal, there are still some aspects we have to change. Firstly, while we held our interviews, it became clear that our research question was somewhat unclear. The answers were to the questions: to what extent does the organizational culture of Fidus influence the performance motivation of their employees, were in some cases too vague. Should I give a number? Was not exactly the answer we expected. That is why we will change the research question into: how does the organizational culture of Fidus influence the performance motivation of their employees? Moreover, in our theoretical framework, we made clear that there were 4 distinct types of cultures. Now that we have seen most components of the organizational culture of Fidus, we can place the culture within the clan culture, which is one of those 4 cultures. We expect that we will still have to make some adjustments, but overall the interviews will help a lot to get the answer for our research question.